Hey there, children of the night, and welcome to Bob After Dark, the show that takes you into the shadows and goes and says hello everything that goes bump in the night. I'm your host with the most that enjoys Toast Bob, and alongside of me is nobody. I'm rocking the show solo for the first time in forever, and it feels so awkward being here alone. I'm currently live on 3 platforms, so if you say hi to me and I don't get a chance to say hi to you back right away, be patient, not ignoring you. I'm just jumping back and forth between the Book of Faces, the red app, and the purple app. So, it is what it is. You guys might be wondering why I'm here and not, like, at my studio. I got bumped due to sports ball. That's the benefit of being on AM radio is local radio is that when sports comes on, that kind of takes top priority over me, at least in the eyes of the owner, which is fine. I get it. But luckily, I have the technology. I could just do the show from home and record it, put it up in podcast land, and, have all the podcast listeners enjoy the episode as well. Let's kill the music here. Or somebody tells me it's copyrighted music and I'd have to be very disgruntled about it. But it's so nice to see all of your beautiful faces, and this is Bob After Dark. Let me tell you a little bit about the show. We talk about legends, lore, and supernatural, things that go bump in the night, lights in the sky, and weird cryptid stories. We are your paranormal show, and we discuss paranormal topics. And it's so weird doing a show by myself these days. I'm used to having a co-host to bounce off of. I am perfectly capable of hosting the show myself. I used to do this all the time back in the pandemic, but man, it's so weird not having Panic with me. I haven't had Panic on a show with me now and going on a month, and I miss him very much. Very busy vampire outside the Bob After Dark schedule, so we don't get to see each other outside the show too much. But man, it's been very, very, very long, and it's just really cool to be here with you guys and to be able to share the show with you. If this is your first time ever watching or listening to an episode of Bob After Dark, we're going to be discussing the weird spooky news of the week. That's where you, the fans, and me, the Bob, go scouring the internet for the weird and the unusual news stories. And then we dive right into the lore of the week. This is going to be set up a lot less structured than my normal show. So if this is your first introduction to Bob After Dark, I promise you this is not how the show is typically. I highly recommend go back and listen to some new episodes if this is your first one to listen to first. But I'm capable of doing the show either way. And it's just, it's good to be here, everybody. So let's dive right into the news of the week. And, give me 1 second. Alright, let's just dive right in. So for all 3 of our articles this week come from our old pal Tim Banal at Coast to Coast AM. It has been a very slow week as far as paranormal news is concerned. So we have a true crime story, and 2 spookier stories, I suppose. I guess I'll let you be the judge of that. Our first true crime story comes to us once again, Tim Banal, Coast to Coast AM. South Carolina prison intercepts drone delivery of contraband steak and crab legs feast. A South Carolina prison squashed what was likely an early Christmas among inmates when they intercepted a veritable feast of contraband items, including steak and crab legs that have been dropped outside the facility by a drone. The remarkable recovery reportedly occurred Sunday when, with a guard at Lee Correctional Institution, noticed a suspicious bag sitting in the prison yard. Upon opening the peculiar bundle, they discovered that it contained a large uncooked steak, a cluster of crab legs, a package of Old Bay seasoning for the seafood, a bag of marijuana, and 2 cartons of cigarettes. detailing the case in the social media post. The South Carolina Department of Corrections mused that it seems like some folks were planning an early holiday Old Bay crab boil and steak dinner delivered via drone to the prison, reflecting a similar sense of planning of a holiday, humor, I should say. About the incident, a spokesperson for the facility joked, I'm guessing the inmates who were expecting the package are crabby boots. That said, as one might imagine, authorities are investigating the contraband delivery, and should the pilot of the drone be caught, they could be facing a whopping 10-year sentence behind bars for the misguided attempt at spreading the holiday cheer. If you guys have any input on that story, feel free to comment in the chat. I don't have a Panic's take, so you guys will just get the Bob take. Hello from South Dakota. Hello, hello, and hello, Gloomy. Hello, Heather. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, I don't know how to think about that one. Contraband is contraband and illegal to have with you. But they seem to somehow manage to get it in there, and kind of fascinating that the routes they'll go without it. Very Merry Christmas to the guards, where you said, yeah, you ain't kidding. They're investigating the steak and lobster tail, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're investigating that, all right. The bag of marijuana. I can't help but laugh at something like that, you know? All right, let's move on to our next story. Once again, comes to us from Tim Manala, Coast to Coast AM. A Welsh town mourns the loss of beloved piece of driftwood dubbed Lizzie the Loch Ness Monster. Sadness has descended upon the Welsh town after a huge piece of driftwood likened to the Loch Ness Monster was swept back out to the sea after charming residents for after nearly 2 years. The strange sensation reportedly back in March of 2024 when the sizable debris washed ashore the coastal community of Porthcrawl. The enormous piece of driftwood resembling a lizard crawling along the beach quickly took on a life of its own, as it was soon adorned by eyes, a long tongue, and a set of humps that complete the monstrous look. Dubbed Lizzie the Loch Ness, and that's Logness monster, the debris came unlikely mascot to the community and something of a tourist attraction until a powerful storm struck the town this past weekend and took the creature with it. While it may sound silly to some, as it's a piece of driftwood, it has captivated the imagination of the town, resident Steve West mused on the proverbial passing of the short-lived local legend. It's very sad, and it will be very strange without Lizzie, whose sentiments were echoed by Chris Kintley, who also lives in Porthcrawl, and noted that the debris had drawn countless people to the community since its arrival nearly 2 years ago. Which is weird to say out loud, by the way, guys, that 2024 is nearly 2 years behind us. That's so strange to me. You know, the debris eventually sporting around 1,000 signatures from people who have signed where they're from and where they visited from, and when they visited. As is often is the case with the difficult loss, grief has turned to anger for some residents who raised the issue of Lizzie's possible demise in the September 2024, but failed in their efforts to convince the town officials to protect the attraction by moving it to higher ground. With the driftwood now gone, the community is left with only regret in their memories of the monster who briefly called Porthcrawl home. While Kitley said he would put money on Lizzie being swept up on the shore at some point in the future, a glimpse of the creature after its return to the sea showed it's lost its legs and no longer resembled the lizard that the town really loved. And yes, this town literally put googly eyes on a googly eyes and a little tongue at the top of the driftwood and put horns on the back. That's so silly, but I guess it could be good for them, and it's sorry to hear. Every town has their local iconic thing that just kind of hangs out there, and you're like, huh. Um, ours would be me, would be the interesting thing in town, I guess you could say. Gloomy says I could investigate a couple lobster tails right now. Yes, not for Bob. Bob is a vegetarian, as you guys may know. No lobster boils for me. All right, let's move on to our last news story. Security camera captures man performing witchcraft ritual outside the home in India. An Indian neighborhood is on the edge after a security camera captured the footage of a man performing a witchcraft ritual outside a shuttered home. According to a local media report, the eerie scene unfolded earlier this month in the community of Khed, Khed. In the footage featured above, the man casually walks up to the residence, carefully empties a bag of items, smashes one of them, which produces several loud cracks, and then strolls away from the home. It was later discovered that the weird moment captured by the security camera was, well, in fact, a witchcraft ritual being conducted by the odd visitor. The materials used in the spell were lemon, turmeric, curd rice, and vermilion, with the broken item being a coconut. Alright. Don't know what spell they are casting there, but that's an interesting laundry list of spell work items, especially coconuts. While the assortment of food and spices may seem random, residents of the neighborhood immediately recognized the curious collection ingredients for a ritual. The incident understandably unsettled those who lived in the area, as no one has recognized the magic performing mystery man. The purpose of the ritual performed at the shuttered home is also unknown, though it is believed to have been connected to an ownership dispute involved. Assuming that the spell was aimed at acquiring at the residence, one imagines that the neighborhood is hoping that it did not work, lest they wind up next door to someone to settle an argument using magical means. So, real quick, folks, if you're new to Bob After Dark, you know that I absolutely adore the witch community. I think they're some of the best people you're ever going to meet in your entire life. I think that the old stereotype that all witches are casting evil and scary spells it's a very nasty stereotype, as a lot of these people who have this as their religion. Yeah, there is dark spells, but no different than praying for something bad to happen to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, not all witches are bad by any means, and most of them are fantastic people that would give their shirt off the back to you if you needed it. So you're not going to get any witch hate out of me on this show. Um, well, never really, as long as the practitioners aren't hurting, people or animals in their practices. I just think that it's just leave people to worship how they're going to worship. I don't know what this guy's spell work was. Um, None of those ingredients sound very angry. Lemons are usually there to absorb negativity. I don't know what coconut does, other than maybe it just kind of holding everything. But either way, the dude's casting some sort of spell. Just calm down, people. So yeah, those are our news stories for the evening. I'm going to be adding in a quick podcast break here for you folks that are listening in podcast land. You're about to be hearing words from a podcast that you should be listening to. Stay tuned. And we're back. During our break, Ryu says, sounds like it was more of a blessing. And I would agree with you. There's nothing in that sounds, predominantly scary by any means. Um, yeah, you get the idea. So let's dive into the lore of the week. If you guys were curious what I did during break, I started taking up coconut milk drinking. So drilling into the coconut and drinking the water inside. It's my new favorite beverage. All right. So this week on Bob After Dark for the lore of the week, ripped right from the files of Dr. Ben Vanderson, we are looking at a Slavic creature this week called the Drekavac. It's a very interesting creature, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys the name, the creature, I should say. Be aware, folks, I do not speak some of the native languages that this creature is known from. So I will be butchering some names when it comes to the really long ones or the ones that I'm going to completely butcher. I promise I'll spell them out for you guys as well. So just bear with me, okay? So tonight we're talking about the Drekavac, the Drekavac, also known as the Screamer because that is the literal translation. It's also called the Drek, the Drekalu, the Zdravakic, that's Zdrakavac, also known as the Civia Jerk, Civijek, the Kukak, and it is a cryptid in southern Slavic lore. The Drekavac comes from the souls of children who have died unbaptized. The creature is not consistently described. There are many descriptions of the creature. Is one that its body is dappled, elongated, as and thin as a spindle, with a disproportionately large head. A modern field of supposed Drevik body looks like a dog or a fox, but its hind legs look like a kangaroo. It also may appear in the form of a child and call for people passing near the cemetery to baptize it. One of the most modern descriptions say it's kind of like a primate. The one feature everybody agrees on is its horrifying yell, hence the name, the Screamer. One of the depictions that I think are the scariest is a baby's torso with an incredibly elongated neck that stretches very long, and the head perches up on top of this incredibly long giraffe-like neck. Kind of terrifying. The creature is could be seen at night, especially during the 12 days of Christmas. Days in the Serbo spring are most often of a child, someone's death, or of animal cattle disease. The Drekavac really bothers its parent. Really bothers its parents as it's afraid. Creature is often used as a child scare, similar she is in West. It's probably the most useful she's in as children surly sometimes hear the sound of some tribute, thus convincing them it exists, which would then probably prevent children from wandering far from home. In the cities, however, belief in it has faded, and the Babaroga, which is closely resembled to the Western boogeyman, is much more commonly used. Though the creature is used as scare tactics for children, there are adults who do believe its existence. According to the guided reporter of the Duga magazine, numerous villages on the mountain of Zaltibor, Zlatibo, seeing it, and almost everyone reports hearing it. It is commonly sighted over Bosnia and Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. It is commonly sighted in the regions. Different that there are numerous sightings of these things, even as early as 2016. I'm going to go over some of that with you guys too. In an article released by a Serbian newspaper, the Novosti magazine, that's Novostimagazin, in 2016, one person claimed that his grandfather saw the creature on a hill near Lapovo in 1928. According to him, his grandfather was returning home in a horse-drawn carriage when the horse suddenly started freaking out. He got out of the carriage to see what was wrong. He eventually sighted a small, black, hairy creature similar to a child, which was moving very fast. The creature attacked him and wouldn't stop until the rooster started singing. In Serbian tradition, is only safe to go outside once the rooster starts singing. He told what happened to him to a priest, who told him that various people reported seeing the same exact thing. Another sighting was in Kravavica, Kravaica, in 1991 or 92, according to some sources. The villagers in the village of this area near Kruvac found a carcass of an unknown animal. The villagers claim that it was the Drekavac, and the animal was about 31.5 inches long, or if you're crossed upon, 80 centimeters. It's furless and similar to a dog. It had a snake-like head with long canine teeth, a long neck, long hind legs similar to that of a kangaroo, and membranes between its toes. One villager proposed the theory that the beast was made in a NATO lab and released into the wild. It's also worth noting that the Drekavac are thought to appear before the start of a war, and also note, excuse me, and less than a year after its sighting, the Yugoslav wars would begin. The most likely explanation for this creature is a fox. The Serbno Jezzer sightings. In the late 90s, it was rumored that the creature, as well as some other monsters, were appearing near the Silver Lake in Serbia. Its most likely explanation is a fox or a jackal. Here's another one from Tommy Tino. In 2003, Serbian newspapers that an unknown dog-like beast, which some people thought it was the Drekavac, had killed over 200 sheep in a period of 2.5 years in the village of the mountain. Excuse me. Divsigaber, DIVC with the umlaut IBARE. It is also mentioned that during the night, screeches can be. Once again, the most likely explanation is a fox. Now listen, foxes can only do so much if they're, calling out to you by name and screaming and looking like a giant skeleton with an incredibly long neck with the head of a baby. And that's the appearance. I don't know how you confuse that with a fox. Remember, guys, I'm a believer. I do believe in this stuff. I'm not a hardcore believer. I do have to look at things from a pseudo-scientific point of view, and I don't believe everything I hear. I have to, have my research in front of me. But there's a lot of sightings of this thing, and you can't blame everything on a fox or a dog, folks. It's just the way it is. Another one in 2007, a man from Lapovo Seal claimed that he was attacked by the on the GVOZNJA kill in the western part. He said that he forgot his bag in the field, so he went back for it. It was late at night and he was very tired. He took the bag and started returning home when something jumped onto his back all of a sudden. He said that the beast sounded like a dog and looked like a big child but heavier. He tried to fight the beast but couldn't, so he fell to his knees and started praying to God, to which the beast disappeared. Allegedly, at the place he got attacked by, the beast was once a where he got attacked by the beast was once a Turkish cemetery that the villagers destroyed. Remember, if they, if you are to one to incline to believe in the origin of these things, they are roaming around cemeteries of children being born unbaptized, which is a, of propaganda by whatever church would be the big one in that neck of the woods. But if you're, if you have a creature rising from the grave and it needed some sort of spiritualism to, keep it from rising, I get where they're coming from. Um, Another one in 2008. In 2008, in the village of Salas, no, oh boy, Nakash, Nokoshki, Noc umlaut A J K J J S K I, is an unknown beast that killed 54 sheep and goats and around 100 poultry in the span of 2 months. That is a lot of slaughtered animals. One villager noted that the animals that this creature were killed were between 60 and 70 kilograms, or 132.3 and 154.3 pounds in weight, while another villager said that the beast entered through the barn through a window that was in the height of 20 feet in the air. Once again, the most likely explanation for this is either a fox or a jackal. Chickens and ghosts, yes, spooky, 100%. Um, if this thing's able to leap up a 20 feet up into a window and then promptly slaughter a whole barn full of animals, that is absolutely one of the most terrifying things I've ever heard of, and spooky, spooky stuff. Let's see here. Sorry, I was checking out the chat boxes. In 2010, a soldier killed an unknown beast that terrorized the inhabitants of Poljanica. The beast would kill cattle, tear into it with its claws, and suck out its blood and eat the intestines. That's a gory new update to this creature. The beast would climb trees and make weird hissing noises. It had thick fur, big claws, and a pointy head. The most likely explanation for this creature is a badger. Yeah, a badger has the ability to just, all badgers are known to be vampiric and suck blood out of things and eat intestines. That's the way to do things. In 2011, weird screams started being heard in the village of Salvagino near Parkinson. One villager said that one night he saw something fly over him, and he turned around and saw the creature. He described it as having a head similar to that of a small child, large eyes, long legs, small ears, and a human-like nose, but wider. They're saying that this one is an owl. The face of a child that looks like an owl. All right. In 2011, in the town of Drevar in Bosnia, loud screeches started being heard during the night. Eventually, the screams became a commonplace for the inhabitants in town. One guy who went into the forest with his friends at night claims he saw a black hairless creature pass by him. And then there's the Polakasa sightings. In 2012, the front leg of an unknown animal was found near Kin, Croatia. It looked like a human hand but covered in dark fur. Some people thought that the hand might have belonged to a Drekavac, which is the creature that we are talking about this week. People say that it might have belonged to a badger. There must be a lot of badger problems in this neck of the woods because they are saying that badgers just have screaming abilities to like be very loud and disgruntled creatures. In 2014, in the village of Kreknia, Bosnia, villagers started hearing weird screams during the night, which they thought were made by the Drekavac. Some people who saw the creature described it as being white and large. They tried to hit it, but it escaped with incredible speed. And then one of the best sightings here is the beer sightings. In 2016, a Croatian YouTuber and his domain released a video titled Scary Bedtime Stories with a special guest. In the second half of the video, he claimed that 2 years ago, specifically on the 27th of December 2014, he and his brother saw a Drekavac in the front of the house which is near the barn. It was late at night when Dennis and his brother heard their dog outside, so they went outside to see what the problem was. At first, Dennis didn't see anything. However, then he noticed a strange creature standing at him, staring at him. He said that approaching the creature, but then later his brother shouted at him to return inside. When they went back inside, they started discussing what they saw. Eventually, their parents woke up and asked them what was, to which they told them they saw. Mother believed them right away, while their father was skeptical. So he separated them into two different rooms and told them to draw what they saw. Drawings allegedly almost identical, although were shown as Dennis's drawing. Dennis also states that they only learned about the Drekavac after their. In 2018, Dennis's brother Pico released a video titled "On My Horror Story," which he went over a version of his story. The only notable difference is that Pico is in the garden while Dennis claimed it was on the. He also mentioned that the creature moved was made out of 2019, Dennis released a video. I spent in place. The second half of the still it's called to the just surrounded. This place is famous for strange things happening, such as people stop screeching and rocks thrown at the got there. It's midnight. He could hear screeching from the house, which he attributed to a car. Spend the rest of the video in his car with his fans' experiences. The rest of the video, however, posted this comment, strange thing that I've seen 6 minutes and 37 seconds. Some people thought it was an 8, thought it was Drekavac from Slavic. However, a year later, Dennis would make a video in which he would say he thinks the thing was a jerk. He would say that similar that he and his brother saw, which was only a 2015, something started terrorizing the inhabitants of the village of Korikani. During the night, they would hear screams, get stones at them thrown at their windows, and hear knocking at their doors. One day, the villagers found a cross with the 2 chicken heads and a pair of chicken legs hanging from it. The most likely explanation that it is a person doing this. And the attacks happened shortly after St. Basil's Day. In 2015, a couple was attacked by an unknown creature in the forest mountain of Kukavica, Kukavica, Kukavica. They described it as looking like a bear but smaller, but shortly it was being similar. They are mentioned in older people from the village would tell them the story of Homage, a demon from Slavic mythology. The possible explanation of this creature was once again as a dog or a fox. In 2017, in the villages of Maglajani, near Lakasi, an unknown beast started killing livestock, specifically a couple sheep, pigeons, and rabbits. There were three people who have encountered the beast. The first was allegedly so shaken up by the event that he didn't know even know how to describe what he saw. The second one who saw the creature says that it's 2 meter tall, creature with a large head and claws on its feet, while the third one described as walking as being 70 centimeters tall. Sounds similar. In 2018, screeches started being heard from the village of Ran BRC. One villager who saw the creature when he was young described it as being having eyes. He was returning home when he saw it. He tried to light a match because old people told him if he saw a demon he should light a fire, but the match wouldn't light itself. So he said, oh, let's get this thing out of. At which point, the creature jumped into a nearby bush. When the night fell, and when he was passing by a creek, the torch suddenly went out. After which he saw the creature next to the creek. After that, a very loud splash was heard as the creature jumped back. He then ran back to the village because, according to Serbian tradition, it is only safe to go out when starts singing. In 2018, a mysterious creature started being seen around the town Debeljaka, Bebeljca. According to descriptions, the creature was similar to a had strong legs and could move incredibly fast. Eventually, someone managed to take a picture of the beast, which turned out to be a golden jackal. So no creature there, but explained as a. In July 2020, people in Belgrade started hearing weird noises, sort of like similar to a sound was heard by people and several surrounding. Some people thought it was aliens. Some that it was 5G. Some that it was a possible explanation for the sound. It's empty district's heating system. That's a stretch if I've ever. In late January 2023, residents of a village of Vaca near Brco, Bosnia, and Herzegovina reported hearing weird sounds coming from the forest, which some claimed was a Drekavac. Other locals who were more familiar with creatures said it was a fox. There are some similar creatures. There's the Bukakavik, recorded in Surum. It's a six-legged monster with things that live in water, and that comes out during the night making a loud noise and tries to strangle people and animals. Pretty wild, huh? There's the Jaud. It's similar to the Drekavac from a vampire's premature baby. Eiling Vanav, the soul of a child, third age. The Nurkastanic, the Plakavac, is a small vampire and newborn strangled its mother who gets from the great night, turn to its house and scream around, but otherwise can't. So there's several animals and creatures that are very similar to the one we discussed tonight, and we have ourselves an episode. I know it wasn't the longest one in the world, but it's the best I could do on a Bob only schedule for the moment, and still trying to get used to not having a co-host. It's going to be really weird. Um the future of Bob After Dark is bright. We're still going to have episodes regardless of what happens, but I wanted to come and record something for you guys this week so at least we had it ready to go. I just want to thank all of you for watching and listening this evening. And I just want to wish all of you sweet dreams. And to my mom, I want to say goodnight to you. To my dad, wherever you are in the universe, I hope you're happy, comfortable doing whatever it is that you want to be doing. And to Tiff, I hope you have the sweetest dreams of them all. Good night, everybody. And remember, the two most important rules of Bob After Dark are not all who wander are lost, and as above, so below. Until next time.